Hey everybody, welcome back to FSP Forex Stock Predictions. Hope you are all having a great day. I am the Vortex Trader, and today we will be continuing our video series on support and resistance. If you never caught yesterday's video, which is part 1, I will link it above in your right hand corner of your screen. Please feel free to check it out. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into part number 2. So today we are going to be over how do we find support and resistance levels. Okay, well, we know, as discussed yesterday, that support and resistance occurs across every market, always, all the time, everywhere. All right, this is what we use to trade. We know that support and resistance levels creates the volatility, it creates the pushes, the push and the pull, it creates the ebbs and the flows, it creates movement, which us as traders want to profit from. So because it is that important, right, this means that we will find it always, all the time, everywhere. It is all over. Okay, so how do we go about finding support and resistance levels? Now, we have two types of levels within support and resistance. We have the major support and resistance levels, and then we have the minor support and resistance levels. Okay, and the major levels we find from a higher time frame. The minor levels we find and more minor and more minor and more minor as we go lower and lower into the different time frames. Okay, now as a base, this is what we are looking for. Now, this is textbook. Okay, and although we sometimes see this picture perfect, textbook perfect looking pattern where price beautifully touches the support level, then beautifully touches the resistance level, then beautifully comes back down and touches the support level, then beautifully goes back up and touches the resistance level, then beautifully comes back down, right? Although this is what we are looking for, in real life on a chart, it doesn't always look as clean and neat as this. And this is how smart money gets you, right? We are just retail traders, okay? We don't trade for the massive central banks of the world. We are not trading massive companies from company boards and from Wall Street, okay? We are not institutions. Yes, we are retail traders. That is what we are called. All right, so we are just looking to see where these institutions are buying and selling these assets. All right, because they are the ones that are creating these levels. Okay, and smart money knows once they have decided where these levels will be, smart money knows that us retail traders will use those levels to form a strategy around. We will use these levels to buy and sell from. Okay, so they are not always going to look so perfect like this. Why? Because smart money knows that retail traders use these areas. So why would they make it perfect for us? This is where we get stopped out. This is where things can become very tricky. This is where things become very crazy looking. However, the pattern, right, and the concept remains the same. Now we will be going over some charts to try and find areas of major support and resistance, as well as areas of minor support and resistance. So with that in mind, keep this image in your head, burn it into your brain. This is how we spot support and resistance, okay? But like I said, just remember, it is not always this clean. We could have something like this. We could have a price go all the way up before, like faking us out, right? Before coming back in, making things look messy. We could then see price bounce around without even touching the major levels at the bottom and the top. We could then see it completely get really messy and then finally sort of touch it there, right? Before just staying up there for a little bit, before just hanging around and teasing us and doing a little thing and then touching it a little bit closer, and then bam, we could get a straight move down, right? Next move could be right down all the way past maybe a little bit of support. So you see, these things can get messy. These candles inside these zones are not always beautiful ebbs and flows with peaks and valleys. Okay, it doesn't always look like that. However, the concept remains the same and we have to respect it. So like I said, remember this image and let's dive into a chart to see if we can find these levels. Okay, right, let's see what we got here. This is the Australian dollar versus the US dollar on the daily time frame. Okay, so this is a high time frame. Right, so on a time frame like this, we can look for areas of major support and major resistance. Why are they major? Why are they major on a higher time frame? Well, the daily chart takes a long time to play out, right? So if the daily chart finds a level and respects that level, whether it's support or resistance, right, we know that that is a strong level, okay? Because it takes time for the daily chart to print. It takes time for these candles to be printed, right? And these levels are very, very strong. It's not like going on the 1 minute chart, right? Which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. If we're on the 1 minute chart, things can get crazy. Very, 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 very choppy, right? Very, very choppy. But on the daily chart, we actually see where these institutions are using these levels, right? What levels are they deciding to use when they are trading these massive amounts of capital? Okay, so let's have a look. Just by looking at any point through any one of these charts, we can already identify levels, right? We see something here. What is this? Here we have a zone, right? And I say a zone because I am incorporating the wicks. Okay, we have a zone of support. Okay, now we can see how long this level held. Check it out. This happened on the 25th of September 2020. Okay, came back down to the same level on the 20th of October 2020. Came back down again to the same level on the 2nd of November 2020. So we can automatically see that this level is a very strong level of support. We can call this a major level of support, right? Price respects this level. It always bounced from this level. It did not break through. So what do we have? We have a major level of support. Okay. Let's carry on looking. Let's go through. Remember, markets do not always go sideways. They go up and down. They make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, or the opposite, right? They can make lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. But on their journey of doing this, we still have major support and resistance levels. Okay, we can see here. Now, this was a pretty crucial time in the chart. This is back in March of 2020, where when we had the C19 sell-off, created panic within the markets. I don't know if you remember being around in the markets back then, but there was absolute chaos, right? It created this massive dip, and then we sort of V-bottomed out of there. The whole world was freaking out, but we did manage to get out of that dip, thankfully. We had a little bit of resistance here. Look at this. This was the first candle that we got resisted on before we went into that panic mode. Okay, we came all the way back up, got resisted a bit, and then we trailed on out of there. This is just a quick example to show you what happened during that sell-off, which is always interesting to see. Right, let's carry on. Let's look forward. Let's see what we can find. All right. Okay, here's another one. Let's see what we got. Let's fill in the zone. This is clearly an area of major resistance. Why? Let's take that wick into consideration. Look what happened. Okay, on the 4th of March 2021, price came up, tried to break this level, could not do it, came back down. Okay, again, came back up on the 18th of March, a couple of weeks later, could not break the level, came back down. Trailed along sideways, did its thing, came back up, tried to get into that level on the 20th of April 2021, could not do it, came back down. Tried again on the 29th of April, could not do it, came back down. Tried again on the 11th of May 2021, could not do it, came back down. So do you see how these major levels are respected? Remember, this is the daily chart. These zones are respected big time. Okay, this is an area of resistance. Yes? Yes. All right, we have support right here as well. So remember, we look for areas on the chart that are sort of lining up. That is how we find our levels. Look here. Right, this is clearly a major level of support. We have price come down into the zone on the 2nd of February 2021, bounce right off it. Okay, that's when we had the first resistance there, came back up, came back down again on the 26th of March 2021, and then again on the 1st of April 2021, bounced right off it both times. You see, it takes a while for these levels to be broken. You see, but they do get broken eventually, and then they sort of flip and become the other side of things, right? They flip. For example, this support was broken, came back up, became resistance now, because now we have strong sellers from the top selling from that same zone, right? So this, from this support level on this side, once we broke through on the right hand side, is now resistance. But we will leave that concept for another video. Let's carry on looking. Let's carry on looking. Right, we have lots of support and resistance going on here, guys. We have a lot. Look at this level right here. Check this out. This is clearly a major level of daily support. Why? Because we can see price came into it 6th of December 2021, tried again on the 28th of January 2022. Look at that distance, right? Because we are on such a high time frame, these levels are really respected, right? We can see the same for resistance up above. Let's quickly do that as the last example on this daily chart. Let's see what we got. Boom. There we go. Okay, look at this level. Right, price broke through this level, right, but nonetheless started at support, came back up to resistance on the 3rd of January, came back down, went back up on the 12th of January, came back down, went back up on the 20th of January before coming all the way back down. So do you see what I mean when I was saying it's not always the up and then the down? It's not always that beautiful, right? It's not always that perfect. It's messy. It does its weird thing along the way. However, the important point to note is that when it does hit these levels of support and resistance, it respects them. Okay, now that is how we find major levels. But how do we find minor levels? Well, minor levels of support, we can go deeper within the actual time frame that we are looking at. All right, and we can say that, well, technically, this is a minor level of support because this was hit as well, right? This zone is within the major levels of support. This is major. That's within that zone, and we have a little bit of support going on here, which we can say is minor support. On the 14th of December, price came down, got rejected, came back down again on the 20th of December, came back down again on the 24th of January before breaking through. You see, there are always minor levels, and if we go deeper into the time frames, then we will find, let's go into the 4-hour view, right? So that was the daily. If we go deeper, okay, this is the 4-hour time frame, we will find these levels everywhere, especially when the market is ranging. They are all over the place. Let's zoom up on this chart. All right, guys, look at this. Clear as day, right? We have a support level. Now notice that this is the 4-hour, so I still think it's a major support level. The 4-hour time frame is a very popular time frame, right? It's still a high time frame. I would definitely call this level a major support level, and I would call this level a major resistance level. Absolutely. Look how price bounced off those two levels perfectly. Check. One tap for support, one tap for resistance, another tap for resistance, 2 taps for support, another tap at resistance, 3, 4 taps for support, another tap trying to get there for resistance before finally breaking out of this area. Do you see how I'm finding these areas, guys? Let's go even deeper. Now we're going into the 1 hour chart. Okay, now we really are looking at minor levels. Okay, let's see, because now the charts are going to start looking very, very different and a lot more choppier the deeper we go into the shorter time frames. You can still see it everywhere. Nothing changes. It's still exactly the same. Here we go. Here's one. Here's a support level. I would call this minor just because we are on the 1 hour. And if we had to zoom out, this tiny level would probably not look as important as it does on this time frame. Let's see. Right. Minor support level, right? Started at resistance, went into resistance, got rejected, came back down to support, got rejected, went up into resistance, came back down into support, got rejected, and finally broke through resistance. Now, this chart is pretty cool. Why? Because this looks like the chart that I asked you to imprint into your mind. Look how perfect that chart is laid out for us. Ebbing and flowing beautifully, bouncing between those supports and resistance zones. Beautiful, right? That looks exactly like the other image. You see, let's go again. Okay, wait, we can scroll a little bit left quickly. Let's see what we got. You just have to spot the levels where price is bouncing between and struggling to break through, right? And they are everywhere, everywhere. Let's do this quick one quickly here. This is clearly another one. Support at the bottom, resistance at the top. All right. Resistant, support, resistant, support, resistant, support. Just like this one. You see? So we do find them, guys. We do find them. Let's go even deeper. Let's go into the 30-minute. This means every candle is now a half hour long in length. And we will see the exact same thing. Here's one over here. We can see that price is struggling to break this area of support. And at the top, we clearly have an area of resistance, yes? Which actually began all the way here. Interesting, right? Look at that candle where my mouse is. How it wicked into that resistance before coming back down. Check that out. Check that out. That's always interesting to see. Look there. Wicked back in, closed below it. We're still rejected. We still rejected the two candles before it finally break through. Yeah? So we have resistance, we got support, resistance, resistance, support. Okay? Within this, we could say this is a major level on the 30-minute because then we could then put a line and say, look at this minor level of support that price is respecting within this zone. Look at that. Support trailing along this little line. Support, support. Broke through it again. There we go. Came back down to retest it. Got rejected on that support. Came back down to retest it. Got rejected. Came back down to retest it. Got rejected. So we can always find these levels, guys. They are everywhere, right? For a last example, let's do this on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, 5-minute time frame. This is very choppy, and I know there are a lot of you guys out there, scalpers, that love trading the 5-minute time frames. If you love to using support and resistance, then never fear, because they are everywhere, always, all the time. Remember that, right? Check this out. Here's our resistance. Resistance, 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 resistance. It's like a tongue twister, tongue twister, tongue twister, tongue twister. Right? There's our resistance, and then we have our support right there. Look how price is respecting that support. Beautifully respecting that support. Check it out. Look at that. This is like that chart as well that I asked you to remember. Support, resistance, came back down into support, came back up into resistance, came back down into support, came back up into resistance, came back down into support. Do you see how they are everywhere, guys? They are all over that chart, this pattern right here. This is it. This is how simple support and resistance is. There is nothing else to it. This is all it is, right? The higher the time frame, the more major the level. Okay, the lower the time frame, the more minor the level, right? If you are only a trader on the 5-minute time frame, you can find your major levels. You can find your levels that are respected, that is respected across a long period of time. Okay, if you are a swing trader and you only trade on the weekly time frame or even the monthly time frame, okay, and you are a position trader and you just add to maybe 2 or 3 positions per year, you will still find your major levels of support and resistance. Okay, this is because this is what trading is. Trading is areas of support and areas of resistance, and the price just carrying on and doing its thing between the two zones. All right, so on that note, let me wrap up this video. Guys, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. If you feel that this video is giving you value, please feel free to share it with anyone whom you know that might want to start getting their hands into this incredible, crazy, epic industry called day trading, right? And please feel free to ask any questions or post them below in the comment section. I have linked our website as well as our social media profiles in below the video. Please remember to come back, and I will be seeing you on the next one. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.